And a good midday Wednesday. Roger Hill, VELCO Weather Hazards forecaster, Weathering Heights. We're looking at the VELCO Weather Hazards outlook, and first of all, on the picture here, we can see the big, large heat dome, this blocking area of higher pressure. Underneath that, we're seeing some pretty roasty temperatures. In fact, the heat indices look pretty special here. They've been like this for days now. Of course, kind of working their way out of the southwest, and this was as the tropical storm Hillary made it up the west coast. It kind of shunted this a little bit off to the east, and that's where it sits currently. Of course, we have this big flow that goes around this very large heat dome of higher pressure. This is the shortwave trough that's currently not projected to get into Vermont. Instead, we have a surface area of higher pressure thanks to a little bit of cooler air from Canada that has set that up. And we're looking at some very fine weather over the course of really right through probably about somewhere around mid to late evening. At that point in time, we're going to see an influx of moisture with another short wave that's going to kind of work in over the top of this ridge of higher pressure. And this is going to arrive, and finally the dam will break with more moisture working into the region. Preceding that, we're looking at some very fine weather. In fact, the rest of today, Wednesday, and really most of Thursday is going to be fairly nice and dry. The tropical moisture across the Atlantic hurricane basin is very active, of course, with several potential easterly waves that have come off of Africa. And most recently, Tropical Storm Franklin is the one to watch. Tropical storm characteristics. It's going to be running into the island of Hispaniola currently, probably rain itself out, weaken just a little bit, make a little bit of a right turn, but then get caught back in and really go between Bermuda and Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, between the goalposts here, just off the eastern seaboard. From there, it makes a slow right turn. It's something around the corner we'll need to watch, and Franklin could be a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane, and really to the southeast of the eastern seaboard. Looking at the European model, we see an area of higher pressure that's located across the northeast United States. This is a little bit of a runner, kind of a ridge runner that's working over the top of this big heat dome. And through the eastern Great Lakes, it's going to take a track and dive basically due southeast. That keeps us kind of open for some pretty good weather here right into the late part of the day on Thursday. Checking the models, you will see that some of this moisture here will start to make it toward us, and a little bit more organization is going to start to work in. This is valid about 8 o'clock on Thursday evening. Precipitation still has not reached the region, but that basically is going to happen by around midnight or so. And once it starts, unfortunately, it's going to linger a bit. We have several different systems to come on through. And not all the models are in agreement here as we head into the weekend. For example, Saturday and into the day on Sunday, we have some robust showers or even periods of rain, maybe some thunderstorm activity embedded, and about 1 to 2 sigma precipitable water. So standard deviations showing a little bit above normal moisture. And then this is Franklin, as we were talking about. This would be Bermuda here, this little dot. And so consequently, you can see Franklin takes a track toward the U.S. for a time, and then it recurves out to sea. And then it could be affecting, it looks like Labrador beyond the period. So this would be valid the mid to late part of the work week next week, and eventually some high pressure is going to try to ridge back into the region, it looks like, as we head toward the month of September, a long ways out. Let's take a look at the GFS ensemble. This is centered on the Montpelier grid, so we're looking at dry weather up and through Thursday evening, Thursday night, and then we're seeing that nice uptick. This is 3-hourly QPF. A little bit of a downtick with a bit of a break, and that's how the European looks as well. And then a second uptick as we head into the weekend. Now, total precipitation for this entire period, the QPF gives us roughly a little bit over a ½ inch, around 0.6 of an inch. Latest model run, and this blue line here shows what the GFS was doing, the deterministic model, a little bit better than 6-7, looks like around 3/4 of an inch or so. And then a little bit of an uptick to follow, but this is going to be the main beefy part of this week's weather with decent amounts of moisture. Now, the European basically continues to have numerous upticks as we head through this entire weekend. The GFS has been holding back on that idea. Precipitable water peaks out, it looks like, on the 25th. This would be Thursday night, Friday. And then it's a little bit of a downtick here, and it really does drop off. You can see the blue line here. This is the GFS deterministic. At least it's indicated to really dry out, probably cool off just a little bit, and then another uptick beyond. 7-day QPF looks like this across the region. We're looking at generally around 1 inch with 1.5 inches across the southern tier of Vermont. And further north you go, the least amount of precipitation with a 1/2 inch there, and then 1/4 inch up in the St. Lawrence River Valley. So that precipitation is a little bit less than what the European is showing. So the Canadian and the GFS is indicating less precipitation, but the European is going gangbusters. We'll have to wait and see if that prevails for this coming weekend. As far as 2-meter temperatures go, you're seeing the conditions right here with basically running above normal, the hottest under that dome of higher pressure, then a little bit of a cool off, and then another area of 2-meter temperature anomalies on the plus side. Look at northern Greenland. That's the most we're seeing. Temperatures greater than 10 degrees Celsius. And those temperatures were anomalies. This is what the next 5 days of meteorological output statistics shows. The heat dome, 12 degrees above normal, running about 9 degrees above normal here. For our neck of the woods, we're looking at temperatures just a little bit below normal as cooler air prevails coming in out of Canada with generally a northwesterly flow aloft. And each little frontal system that moves on through will deliver kind of a reinforcing shot of cooler air. About 3 days later, it looks like this. Still running about 3 degrees below normal, not a whole lot of change. With an active Atlantic hurricane basin currently, we have Franklin. This is as of 11 a.m., running about 40 knots. And again, it's crossing through the island of Hispaniola, and that's going to be taking a track between Bermuda and Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, a little bit closer to Bermuda. This is in very warm waters here, and of course it'll recurve out to sea. This is Franklin, and what we can do is watch that. That's going to be the main system that's most threatening to the East Coast. And you can see that once we get into the blue, the green here, 40 to 50 knots of max wind. And then you're getting into hurricane levels of max wind, 70 to 80, as it gets about even with South Carolina. So it goes out to sea, not expected to become anything in the interior, but a little bit close for comfort, and we'll be watching it carefully. This will be beyond the outlook period as it heads out and further off to the north and east. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.